Oh, seven citizens, Black here from Black Gaming, and today I wanted to help those new players who are coming into the verse, or perhaps you're already here, but you're riding around in your very first starter ship. Maybe it's the Aurora MR or the Mustang Alpha, or perhaps it's even one of the slightly better than those ships, and you're undecided on which ship to move up to from your starting point. Maybe you want more of a well-rounded daily driver, or maybe you have something a little more specific in mind, but you also don't want to spend more than $100 in the game just yet because you might not be sure it's for you, or maybe you just don't believe in spending that much on a game, especially one that's still in alpha, and no one can blame you there. That's where this video comes in, but before we get to that, let me first ask that if you like what I do here, then please do all of the things that can help a channel grow. Also, if you've not yet created an account for Star Citizen, then please use my referral code that's flashing in the top right corner, as it helps me and can also help you with in-game credits, and even from time to time they also run ship referral giveaways for both parties. So if you came here during one of those, a free ship is always nice. At any time during this video you can skip ahead to where you need to go using the chapters I have down below. Now I give some useful information before breaking into each ship, so if you're not sure what I mean by daily driver, or if you aren't sure how the upgrading process works, I've got you covered there in the first couple of chapters. Alright, and so with the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the information. Now when I say daily driver, the most obvious definition is just a ship that you use daily, but not all ships are created equal or will give you the capabilities that you need in a single starter ship. For instance, maybe you're really into ship-to-ship combat and you want a decent fighter to allow you to work your way up the bounty hunting reputation tiers. If that's you, then you might want the Origin 325A or the Anvil Arrow or something else. If you want to move freight, you would need a different ship. Maybe you want to carry around some ground vehicles. Again, you have options, and the best ship is going to be the one that can meet the most options for you on a daily basis. Now, staying under $100 means that you will not be able to go out and do ship-on-ship salvaging or ship mining, and it might also limit you on more multi-crew roles or even carrying some of the larger ground vehicles, but there are still ways you can take part in some of those gameplay features like salvaging or mining, just on a smaller scale. Now remember too that with a great starter ship you will be able to achieve in-game earning to be able to add those higher price ships to your hangar. So choosing the best ship for those future needs is what this video is all about. So the way I'm going to present this list is through the ship upgrade screen on Robert Space Industries website, with some of the footage I have gathered during my hours of play sprinkled in to show off a little of what they can do. Now for those of you who might not know, and I know there are some out there who are not quite sure how ship upgrades work, let me explain this really quick. There are chapters down below, so those who do know how the upgrades work can just go ahead and skip ahead to whatever ship you're interested in. So basically, when you buy your first ship, so in this instance, let's say it's the Aurora MR, you can go to the pledge store page and select upgrades. That brings you to this screen. Once here, you select your paid for ship on the left side, and keep in mind that any ship that you own can be upgraded. So if you have bought another ship after your starter package, or maybe you received one as a referral gift like you see here, that ship will show up on the left as well, and is also available for upgrade. The right side are the ships you can upgrade to, once you select which of your own ships you want to upgrade from on the left. Remember that upgrades work upwards in value, meaning more expensive ships, not backwards to cheaper ships. But you can melt or sell your ship back for store credit later on if you decide to go backward and if it's eligible. You will just need to make sure that you always have a starter package as one of your own ships, even if that is the one you choose to upgrade. In other words, you need to have one starter package on your account at all times in order to play the game. Anyway, whenever you want to upgrade and have your own ship selected on the left, you can start scrolling through all of your upgrade options on the right side. So as an example, let's say you want a ship with a little more internal room to carry packages or more passengers, so you choose the C8X Pisces Expedition. The current cost of the Pisces Expedition is $45. Once you selected it, you can see down below that you can pay $15 and add that to the cart, meaning you only need to pay the difference when upgrading your ship. So with that in mind, you can see how easy it is to upgrade from the starter package. And let's make one thing clear here. Most people do upgrade their starter package because the $30 ships, while capable, are just more of a grind to start earning better money with. But there are some players who absolutely refuse to spend more money on the game, and that's fine too. The ships that show up here on the list that you can upgrade to with real money, you can also purchase in-game with earned credits. So that Pisces expedition is available in-game by going to a ship store such as the Astro Armada on Area 18, and you can purchase it for 406,000 credits. Now this means you only own it in-game, and only so long as there is not a server wipe. Once the game is released and it is live, there should not be any more server wipes, but during alpha and beta, there will be wipes that happen probably at least once per year. So just be expecting that. Ships bought with real money are available after a wipe as soon as you log in, which is one of the perks of owning a ship with real money. Anyway, that is how the upgrade system works. Now let's go ahead and move on to the ships themselves and which one is right for your needs. Alright, I'm going to go through the list from the least expensive to the $100 cap, starting from the point of view of someone who has the bare bones starter ships that are only worth $30. I will have the upgraded ships as different chapters, so if you need to move on to a ship you're interested in upgrading to, you can just select the ship down in the chapters below. First up are the various Aurora variants. The Aurora LN is a combat upgrade from both the $30 starter ships. The Mustang Alpha is better in combat than the Aurora MR, but not the LN. So if combat is more your thing and $10 seems like enough of a reason to upgrade for slightly more damage, then that is what you should go with. Just keep in mind too that it's not much of an upgrade, and the LN has to use fixed weapons in order to get the size 2 guns, so if you prefer gimbaled weapons, you should just stick with the MR if you already have the Aurora. Now the next big jump up in combat effectiveness is going to be at least twice the cost of your initial price point, so $10 might be a nice way to dip your toes in for a little more DPS, and also you get a bed with either the MR or the LN. So to me, that kind of puts the Aurora LN definitely over the Mustang Alpha, because having a bed to log out in is going to be a huge deal with the new systems going in place with the game and with the longer distances we will soon be traveling. Now as for the Aurora CL, I wouldn't bother with it right now because the additional price is not worth the little bit of cargo space you're offered when compared to other ships further down the line or near that same price point. But with the cargo refactor coming up any week now, it's possible players might get more use out of the CL, but we should see on that one. So when people discuss upgrading to a Mustang variant, they usually go for the Mustang Delta, but this is a time-sensitive ship sale that is not always available throughout the year, so that gets passed on more by players than it probably would if it were available year-round. For its price point, it is definitely a better fighter than the Aurora LN, but if we're being honest here, it's usually passed over for another ship that excels in combat that I'm going to get to soon. The Mustang Beta sacrifices cargo space for small living quarters and should have more range to travel further distances. Both of these things should be more important in Pyro when it launches, possibly in late 2023. The Mustang Gamma is for those who want to try their hands at racing, and again, sacrifices cargo for the extra speed. Now, are any of these variants of the Mustang worth going for when compared to others? A lot of that could be styling, to which you might prefer the Mustang Beta for its living quarters over the more expensive Origin models that also have living space, but at that Origin premium. If living quarters is important to you, then I think for the price the Mustang is about as good as you can get. But there's another ship that is new to the verse that is making a real go at this ship's interior living space. Now, as you can see me scrolling through these ships, or you yourself are doing so, you have no doubt of noticed that there are quite a few ground vehicles you could possibly update to. I would not do this from your starting package for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, ground vehicles simply cannot fly, so you would not be able to move about the verse. But the other reason is simply because ground vehicles are just so cheap to buy with in-game credits that many, including myself, rarely buy them with real money unless it's just a brand new vehicle. So as you can see, I am skipping over all ground vehicles and will save those for another video while I will discuss which ones are worth using. The C8X Pisces Expedition is a great little explorer ship and makes for a good daily driver, especially if you want to bring along a buddy or two since it has 2 little jump seats in the cargo area. I enjoy using mine as it gets around pretty fast. The fuel economy is not the greatest, but for quick bursts around a single planetary system, it's pretty good. It has some weapons as well, and one of its key features is being able to fit into the hangar bay of the Carrot. So these two kind of go along like peas and carrots. The $45 price tag on this makes it pretty much a no-brainer for daily use unless you want to bet on your ship. Now where things get really interesting is with the C8R Rescue variant that just came out. It's a $20 jump in price, coming in at 65 USD, but having that medical bed, the cheapest medical bed that you can have on a ship, is a game changer, especially for a little daily runner. The bed is a tier 3, so it cannot treat the more severe injuries. It does excel at keeping your fluids going, and its in-ship storage capacity makes it a nice runner to do things like outposts or bunkers to collect armor and weapons. The medical bed cannot act as a logging out bed though, so you can't use it for that. The medical variant is also a bit faster than the normal Expedition version, improving on the already decent speed that the C8X series has. Both of these variants also have a super quick reclaim time, so they're basically always available to take out, and can even be called out from ground landing pads on planet surfaces at places like Shubin mining outposts. It's really hard to go wrong with a Pisces, and they also usually end up on sale during some of the major ship sales as well, so definitely keep your eye out for those sales and pick one up. One of the best surprises of the year for 2022 was the release of the Drake Cutter as a direct-to-flyable starter ship from Drake. Now I personally think every brand should have a sub $50 starter package or ship that you could upgrade to from the lower price starter packages, and the Drake Cutter just shines in so many ways. If you were thinking about going with anything sub $50 for cargo or daily driving or doing package missions or needing to travel greater distances around the verse without needing to refuel as often, then this is the ship that I recommend. One of my main arguments why I think this is probably the best starter ship at even the $30 to $55 range is simply because it's also one of the newest ships in that range, and the newer ships that have come along in the past year and a half are just some of the best working ships for the most part and seem to have the least amount of issues. One other thing of note is that the Cutter can still carry larger ground vehicles that do not quite fit to where you can close the ramp behind it, such as the rock mining vehicle. Now, I would not go taking the rock off-world or off-moon, as is the case, but you can do rock mining using the Cutter as a way to carry this vehicle. You cannot go wrong with the Drake Cutter unless the styling just offends you, in which case, I don't know what to tell you, except that your style preferences are going to cost you more money for the same features. Origin makes the Mercedes or the BMW or the Lexus of the stars. They are fancy, well-controlled ships that fly like butter. Starting at 50 USD for the 100i is a great ship for touring the verse. Sure, there are ships that are cheaper that can do what this one does and even more, but they do not have the styling of the Origin series of ships, and if brands and style mean anything to you, then this is the #1 reason to go for this ship. The 125A has the most weapons of this variant series and is the fighter version of this line of ships. It also has faster speeds but less maneuverability than the slower 100i, and it's $10 more than the 100i. There are better fighters at this price point, or less actually. The 135C is the most expensive, coming in at 65 USD, and for that you get 6 SCU of cargo, making it carry the most of these variants, but only 2 more than the $45 Cutter, I might add. Just saying. Anyway, the 135C is the slowest with the least firepower. Overall, I think this line of ships are very nice to fly, but my practical side of spending tells me that you can get more for less in most cases. So now we're on to one of my favorite lines of ships, which is the Avengers. The Titan is the light freighter version, but don't let that fool you into thinking it cannot handle its own in battle. For its price point, the Avenger Titan is probably the one ship that most, especially those who are looking to do bounties, upgrade to, and having beds inside the Titan variants is another great reason to have one. The Titan having a nice little cargo space of 8 SCU used to be another good reason for people to upgrade to have a spacious open bay to go into for picking up packages packages or even store the PTV or the hover quad. But now that the Drake Cutter has come along, it offers up the cheapest little bay to handle packages and even some slightly larger ground vehicles, so the Avenger might not be chosen for that aspect, but more for combat. And flight handling, it's hard to do better than this price point. Now as for the variants of this line, the next up in price is the Stalker for 60 USD, which is an interdiction ship. The Stalker is also meant to be able to capture bounties live, but that gameplay is not yet available, so that's not really a reason to buy it. But once that gameplay does make its way into the verse, this ship will be sought after for taking those live bounties to the nearest holding facility. The Renegade is another ship that is time sensitive, only available during certain ship sales that come with a special paint job, and is basically another cargo variant of the Titan. Now the last variant is the Warlock, which is another limited time sold ship, but is available to buy in-game with credits if you can't wait. This is another interdicting ship, but also has an EMP that when fired right can disable the power of the other ship, which of course has its uses, and those uses will soon be growing as we get more onboarding gameplay with the resource management system finishing up work next year. One other thing I really like about the Titan is its compact size and easy flight handling, even in Atmo, which not all ships can claim. I like using ships of this size to go to places where there are caves you can fly into or land nearby. So while you're attempting to complete one of the bounty or investigation missions here, you can also do some hand mining to earn some more credits in case you have issues finding those hard to find missing persons, making the trip still worthwhile. Alright, so here we are back at the fancy Origin ships, and the 300 series is the creme de la creme of ships in this range, and even features a customization option that no other ship features, where you can use the website to swap out paints and color changes for the interior, and even how some of the interior looks with different styling options to choose from. Aesthetics aside though, the ships fly smooth as you would expect from Origin, and these are a nice upgrade from the 100 series of ships we mentioned earlier. The 300i, which is a good ship just to ride around in, to tour the verse, especially good for making long trips or multiple stops. The price starts at $60 before any customization takes place. Now the 315p is the next up and is more on the investigative or research variant with very capable scanning features, which of course are not in game just yet, and neither does the equipped tractor beam work, so this is a model of empty promises at the moment, but the vehicle tractor beam should be in later next year. The price starts at $65 without any customizations. The next one up is the 325A, which is the interdiction model and is well equipped with weapons and missiles, so how does it stand against the Avenger Titan? Well, the Titan is the ship that many still prefer over the 325A, myself included. The 325A is almost equal to it and in my eyes even looks sleeker, but the ramp of the Titan makes its utilization a little better for doing some other types of gameplay, so that is my opinion on that, but both are fairly equal in most regards when it comes to combat. The 325 does have more response in its turning than the Titan, but the Titan is still a great flying ship. The 325A starts at $70, which to me is another sort of negative versus the Titan in my book. Now there is a fourth variant that is for racing, but it exceeds the $100 cap and is not available to upgrade to, as it's another limited stock ship available only during the ship sales. Now are you ready for my unpopular hot take of the video? Now, I love this little ship. It is in dire need of some upgrading and even some bug fixing because it has been neglected and has some serious issues, and I'm not recommending you to upgrade to it, but it's one to keep your eyes on, and if you somehow get one because it's a loaner ship for like the Expanse or the Odyssey, then try it out. I would not put precious cargo inside, but if you just need a quick ship to get back somewhere fast, this ship is one of the coolest looking with its mixture of early aviation MISC design with alien tech. The way the ship turns when you put up the landing gear and even how it handles is otherworldly feeling, and I wish they would give it some love as it's one of the most unique ships out there. The price is too high unless they can improve on some of its features, but regardless, if you get the chance, try it out. Alright, so for $20 more than the Titan, you get a better fighter. The Anvil Arrow is one of the current meta light fighters in the game, along with a more expensive entry that's coming up soon in this list. The Arrow flies great and excels at combat, and with it you can go all the way to the top of the bounty tiers. There are definitely more powerful fighters in the mid and heavy class range, but if all you want to do is fly about the verse, picking up bounties and smoking targets, then this is the ship for you, but keep in mind it's very limited to just combat and won't be a good daily driver type of ship. Alright, so do you like space pickup trucks or like the idea of one? Do you like ships with cool triangular crunch wrap stylings? How about hover tech where the ship seems to float off the ground a foot or so like it's magic? Well, if you answered yes to any or all three of these questions, then the Nomad is for you. I almost called this ship little, but then it might come after me because this ship is certainly not little on features. It has a 24 SEU cargo space outer cargo bed that, while I'm not able to wrap my head around how your cargo does not burn up or fall out in the atmosphere, I'm assured by top tech levels that it's held in place by invisible force fields. The ship also has nice spacious living quarters with a bed, kitchen, and bathroom, along with gun racks, and nice stowage for filling your ship with all of your bunker loot. The ship's weapons aren't bad either, allowing it to defend itself well enough for a ship of its size. Now, even though it has 3 size 1 shields, its hull is noticeably weaker than the Titan or Anvil Arrow, so it's not quite on par with those ships in terms of combat, but you're getting a more solid, well-rounded ship than those other two, making it one of the best daily drivers for under $100, and it also allows you to comfortably carry a rock mining vehicle in a more stable way than you can with the Drake Cutter I mentioned earlier. You're paying more for the Nomad than the Cutter, but I just wanted to share one of the main reasons people own the Nomad, and that is how easy it is to use for ground mining and also just cargo hauling. With the cargo refactor coming, it will be easier to quickly take off cargo packages from an open bed than it might be for ships where you'll need to open cargo bays and move packages through doorways, etc. Of course, this might also make it easier for pirates to steal your items, especially if your ship is just sitting there with no shields on. Now, on the other hand though, it will make for some decent looting if you're out and about and run into a ship that has just lost its contents and you want to get away with a quick haul before anyone returns. One last feature to mention is that it does have a tractor beam that is currently not working, but when vehicle tractor beams are implemented next year, as they are currently being worked on according to the roadmap, then this ship will become even more capable. Oh, and one little tip here, if you want to save money on this ship, as of now and probably until the Reliant core has some work done on it, if you upgrade to the Reliant core, which is $15 cheaper than the Nomad, you will get the Nomad as a free loaner. I don't know how long this will be that way, but as of now, and you should double check before doing so, you get the Nomad for $15 cheaper by doing this. So you're welcome on that little tip, and when it does get fixed, just upgrade that Reliant to the Nomad. Alright, we're on to the other light fighter meta ship, the Gladius. So why spend $90 on the Gladius over the $75 Arrow? Well, the two ships are so similar that many probably won't. The differences are situational, and from what I've gathered, if you're a really great pilot, then the Arrow will be for you. If you're so-so as a pilot, the Gladius might be more of use for you, since it has a lot better shields, making it more forgiving with mistakes you might make versus the Arrow. The Arrow is faster in straightaway speeds, which might not matter as much or change completely with master modes being introduced next year with ship combat. The Gladius is better at rotational speeds and maneuvering, which might be better. Again, this will be a mostly combat ship, but it's also just a great ship for learning to fly better and doing some insane low flying to show off if that's your thing. Plus, the styling might be more of your liking. My suggestion would be to go with the Arrow, and then during May or November's free flight events, try out the Gladius to see if you're missing something and want to upgrade. Those are usually good times to pick up the Gladius with some nice paint jobs as well. Alright, so do you love that space trucker lifestyle, but want to be able to hold larger loads that are actually worth some decent endgame credits? Then the 64 SEU of cargo that the Mist Hull A can carry will make this the best choice for you. Now, as mentioned earlier, the only ship that comes close to this amount of cargo capacity for a cheaper price is the Nomad with its 24 SEU of cargo capabilities, which is not even half of what this ship can carry. But what about doing more with the Hull A? Can it be a daily driver? Now, the surprising answer to this is yes, it can actually do more. It has a nice living quarters for a single person with a kitchenette and bathroom, weapons locker, and armor locker, and the bed doubles as an escape pod. The ship also comes with a docking port allowing it to dock to other ships or for easy access for you to get out for a spacewalk to check on that precious cargo in space. You are able to carry packages on board up the ladder as well, making it a great little ship for doing those types of missions as well. Combat will be something that I would steer away from, as this ship only has 2 size 1 repeaters on the nose, which is meant to be able to shoot back a little if you're being attacked by a smaller fighter, but this ship is not meant to be great at maneuverability, as expected, and is especially slower in atmosphere, again, as expected, since it's a cargo hauler. But the ship still handles and flies surprisingly well, and with this being a recently added ship, the systems and functionality are some of the best of any ship out there right now. Overall, if you want to be a space trucker, then this needs to be the ship you're aiming for. Okay, so we're on to the last ship, which is where things begin to break out in terms of what a larger ship can offer, and to me this $100 price point is a bargain for all of what this ship can do. In fact, it can pretty much do everything game feature wise at this point in development that all of the other ships in this list can do, and then some, with maybe the exception of being as high a tiered fighter as the Aurora or Gladius, and certainly does not have as much cargo as the Hull A for space trucking. But with 46 SUU, it's not too far off. Oh, and there's no kitchen or bathroom either, so you're gonna have to not eat or potty while you're using this ship. The larger cargo area allows you to carry the rock more comfortably, although some people do prefer the open bed of the Nomad to more quickly get your ground vehicle in and out of the cargo hold. The Cutlass is clearly the choice for those wanting multiplayer fun though, as it not only has a co-pilot seat, but also a turret that another player can man, which gives this ship 6 size 3 guns if you so outfit it, not to mention 16 missiles or more depending on how you load out your ship. The Cutlass can handle bounties all the way up with the right skills and a buddy in that turret, but it's not the best multiplayer battleship with a weaker hull and shields than others that can do the same feature, but at the $100 price point, it's hard to argue with a ship that's meant to be good at many roles and not particularly great at any one of them. Still though, I enjoy using the Cutlass, and flying it is actually very fun as well, with its loose feeling, yet not too loose to where you feel like you might lose control. Some people complain about the nose dipping some when flying, and I think I noticed it more when I flew with a keyboard and mouse versus flying with flight sticks. Ultimately, it's one of the most popular ships in the verse for a reason, and you'll either fall in love with its bare bones aesthetic and many uses, or you'll move on to a more expensive ship, but regardless, for $100, it's a great entry into a whole new way to play Star Citizen. Well, that is the final ship in this upgrade guide of all of the ships you can upgrade to, but maybe shouldn't or should, just depending on how you want to play the game. Now, each of these ships mentioned in this video and more, I offer up quick vehicle loadouts for with handy visuals to allow you to quickly try out some better ship components or weapons, and I make it easier for you by showing you where you'll need to go to pick up these components around the verse, because trying to figure out where the quantum drive is versus missile racks can be overwhelming, so you can just pause the screen on my loadout to see where you need to go, and those videos are done with little to no time wasting from me, so they're quick and informative. I also do individual reviews for each ship that goes into more depth about each ship, and I give my honest take on not only the good, but also the not so good about a ship, so you can make any informed decision on whether a ship is right for you before you decide to spend a dime or hundreds of dimes. I'm here to help new players any way I can, which includes my Discord, where I'm not trying to foster a large org for group play, but I'm there to answer any new player questions, so feel free to drop in and post your questions, and I'll answer them, usually pretty quickly, unless of course I'm asleep. Anyway, as always, remember to be kind to your fellow gamer. $45 for this game is actually all you ever need to spend, unless you just like supporting the game, and stay positive citizens.